extreme, and I thought I'd talk about this because this is very personal to me and intimate to me because I'm really saddened by the recent events in which a lot of people saw this coming, in which now the former mayor of Oakland, Shane Tao, was indicted on bribery charges, among other things. And basically, if convicted, she's looking at 95 years in prison, along with her partner, who happened to be black. I can already see where this is going. What's going to happen is somebody is going to snitch. Somebody is going, are they going to rat each other out? But this going to be one of them situations. Somebody is going to have to take the fall for this. But it should be her because she is the mayor. And I believe she's tied to a lot of other things. I believe that she was the final nail in the coffin in which the Oakland A's left early instead of just riding out the next 3 years in Oakland until their new stadium was built in Las Vegas, which I think groundbreaking is going to begin, I think, in April, to where they'll have the stadium finished in time, I think, for the 2028 season. But it's just terrible. It's just terrible what they did to my city, because I was born and raised in Oakland. I was born in Highland Hospital, and I had a great time growing up in Oakland. It was a fun city. At the end of the day, I grew up in the 90s. It had its heyday. That was my time when Oakland was just like, it was nasty. It was a mini Detroit at one time, a mini Chicago. And the reason why I say a mini Detroit, a mini Chicago, because Oakland only, at the time, when I was growing up, it had like around 360,000. Now I think it's up to like 450,000 people. So, the city did grow, but at the same time as it grew, it started to go down. It started to go backwards. And I just saw years through just horrible politicians, horrible mayors who did nothing to upgrade the city, to fix the city. It was almost like the city never evolved. It was stuck in the 80s and the 90s. They never tried to upgrade our malls and stuff to where they ended up closing. They just never tried to upgrade the city. And you just had just so many corrupt politicians, just horrible mayors. Libby Schaaf, Shane Tao, Jerry Brown. It just got to the point to where these owners, they just couldn't wait to get out of Oakland. I mean, this city right now is so dangerous. I mean, this city is extremely dangerous. Extremely. But then based off the California laws, you're not allowed to protect yourself. You're not allowed to arm yourself. You got to be on complete alert. Walk around with your head on the swivel. Like I said, we made history, and it was so sad listening to the CEO of In-N-Out Burger, the lady, I forgot her name, basically say, in the history of the 75 years of our business, we never had to shut down a franchise or a restaurant until Oakland, because it was just to the point to where it was just unsafe. People getting robbed outside, people getting their cars broken into. Then not to mention the homeless problem is out of control. I mean, the homeless problem is just out of control. There's certain parts that you go to Oakland and it looked like Escape from New York. But then again, they kind of predicted that this was going to happen in California. So maybe we're on course. That they predicted that California was going to become a wasteland state. And it looked like we're headed towards that. And it's just it was terrible. Oakland was one of the was a city that was flourishing between the 70s and the 80s. You had a lot of people that couldn't wait to come here, but then you just had police chiefs that was in and out. They acted if they wasn't trained to handle crime and stuff. Then, then not to mention Gavin Newsom further helped like sink the city, into the Pacific Ocean. And like I said, it's just terrible, when I drive by Oakland and just see how it looks now. Just certain areas. They got certain parts of the city that's just like completely abandoned. I recently drove by the Coliseum, the area where the Coliseum is. It just looked crazy. They took all the A's memorabilia off, took the scoreboard down, took everything. And I think something is strange when a city loses all three of their franchises. That's never happened before. Where a city that had three professional franchises lost, that's never happened in history. Wasn't allowed to keep, we wasn't able to keep one. Where you had the owners that were bribing, and I'm gonna just say it, and lying because they couldn't wait to get out of here. But to just see the mayor tied in bribery, and we already knew when the feds ran up in her house, they had something. Yeah, she's saying she's innocent now, but what's going to happen in the long run? Somebody will cut a deal. It just comes down to who's going to sell one another out first. That's all it's going to come down to. Who's going to fold? Who's going to fold first? I think she was the first mayor that ever got voted out of office. I think she got recalled along with I think a district attorney named Stacey Abrams, who was letting pretty much people run rapid. Like I said, it's bad out here, but I wear my city, I wear my city on my sleeve. The Oakland gonna always be in me, but at the end of the day, I couldn't see myself living there. I don't live in Oakland anymore. My family is still out here, but I just couldn't see myself living out here anymore because of what happened to the city. It's just like, it's almost like Oakland never prepared for the future. And as I travel and stuff, when I go see fights and all this kind of stuff, and I go to all these cities and I see how these cities like upgraded and they did whatever it took to keep their sports franchise, because sports franchises is very important to a city. It's representation of your city, where you come from. And now that we don't have any professional franchises, it's like, yeah, and it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing now. It's almost embarrassing to say that you grew up in Oakland. Like I said, it's just horrible, and it just like it saddens me what happened and how they destroyed my city, and how people came in and helped contribute to destroying this city. These politicians out here, they're horrible. I think they all was involved in some kind of corruption. A lot of palm greasing and stuff. I just really in my heart of hearts believe that. You got to ask yourself, this is supposed to be a major city, and I'm just keeping it 100. This is supposed to be a major city, but yet you have to go outside your city, even when you live in here. Did you have to go outside your city to go to a mall or something, or go shopping and stuff, or sometimes go to a movie because they really didn't have those type of things available? Every time they tried to bring businesses here, like they wouldn't last because of the crime. And then the funny part is, I saw somebody that was, commenting, because I'm finna keep it a buck, when basically the CEO of In-N-Out Burger was basically talking about why they had to close down the Oakland restaurant. And then, of course, people was quickly to try to point the finger at black people. One person referred to us as the basketball people. And you should have known me, how I responded to that comment. And it wasn't pretty. And the funny thing is, most of these crimes, I got news for you. They wasn't getting committed by black people. They were getting committed by everybody but black people. Hispanics, Asians, some whites. It was more every other group than blacks, because a lot of the blacks moved out of Oakland. They moved to Stockton. They moved to Pittsburgh. They moved to Antioch. They moved to Tracy. Places like that. So Oakland is not a black city anymore. Just keeping it a buck. Hasn't been a black city in a while. You started to see the transition after the earthquake of '89, when they basically started to gentrify West Oakland. Now, if you go to West Oakland, you got people living there you wouldn't even think that you couldn't pay money to live in West Oakland like about 25 years ago. And some people believe it was part of the plan, that they did to Oakland what they eventually did to New Orleans, where people purposely believed that those levees didn't break, that they got blew up. But that's just crazy to be attached to something like this, to hear about your mayor being attached to bribery and forgery and that kind of stuff. It's just crazy. Shout out to Pink Book Lessons, because she been on it. She been on it. And people just didn't like Shangtown. People just didn't like her. One, they felt she was a little too young, because she was like sworn in as the mayor, I think at age 37. I think she's not even 40 yet. And she tried to say that crime was down, but she did a terrible job. In the 2 years, she did a horrible job. When you got places boarded up, she didn't do nothing to try to improve the city. She didn't do nothing to try to keep businesses in Oakland. She didn't do nothing to try to bring businesses to Oakland, because she couldn't guarantee people's safety. So that's what happened. So there you go.